So let's continue with the third block. Let's see how much feedback people are giving, how deeply they're feeling what we're sharing, and whether they're still in a state of perception, of sensing and interpreting their own picture of the world.
Yes, let's go. First question. Is it dangerous for a woman or a man to be without a relationship for a long time?
Let's do it this way. You answer from your perspective, I'll share mine, and then we'll see how much they overlap.
First of all, a long time is a very vague concept. What I want to say is this. There are situations where the longer a woman stays alone, the less she actually needs a relationship. And that's real. She starts reinforcing her masculine photon-level energy because there's no one around for her to develop her femininity with. A woman has far more potential to unfold her feminine nature when she's next to a man, and later it takes real effort to come back into that state. For a man, it depends on the context of his solitude. If he's completely alone, most often that points to an unresolved separation from his mother. If he's alone but has many women, that's usually the same issue, separation from the mother. Just a lighter version of it, at least there's some exchange happening there. By the way, I wanted to ask you about stages. You once said that sometimes we meet our person too early. Or rather, if we meet someone too early, they're not actually our person. And if we meet someone too late, it's already too late, because we've missed many developmental stages. Let's try to connect these ideas. I feel like there's something important there.
Let's put it this way. If a person is living within a very rigid destiny framework, then everything is already prescribed. When, with whom, and for how long. In such cases, there's no energy allocated for flirting or preparation at all. Someone might be single for 10 years, then meet their person, and everything works beautifully. But that's extremely rare, truly rare. Much more often, what we're seeing is an unresolved separation from the mother. That separation didn't happen because, for various reasons, the mother didn't give enough love. And this ties back to what we were saying about the matrix. The matrix exists in the noosphere, in the energy information field. We can call it whatever we want. I sometimes call it the world of the dead because it's information that has already happened and cannot be changed. It simply exists as it is. The matrix governs development. It observes the processes happening on planet Earth through the woman. And the woman, as the matrix, produces matter, the child. Up until the age of 3, there's an extremely concentrated saturation with feminine, earthly energies so that the child can interact with the world and have that energetic base. After the age of 3, the father comes online. Creative energies, that means attunement with other civilizations, other dimensions of creativity. The first separation happens during puberty. This is the first real separation, when the child truly becomes a boy or a girl energetically. Major conflicts arise there, internal and external, depending on how the mother's and father's roles were fulfilled. The second separation happens at 18 for men and at 21 for women. That's the final detachment. And if the matrix sees that someone has remained on its energy, it activates a destruction program through the mother toward the one who stayed. In that sense, the mother becomes a killer. So how do we recognize that separation didn't happen? Insecurity, anxiety, resentment, indecisiveness, the urge to justify oneself, endless endurance, constant adaptation, and underneath all of that, massive internal aggression. That aggression destroys the person of the opposite sex, and in that case, no real relationship can exist because it's dangerous. Through that person, the matrix starts acting and destroys those they choose or want to interact with, because they themselves have become a self-destruction program, and that program simply gets projected onto anyone they come into contact with. So my answer is a broader one. We move through separation. And recently, when we met with friends, I could clearly see how, despite having a long family life, they're unable to give each other enough love, precisely because neither of them went through the separations they were meant to go through.
By the way, It's interesting. At the same time, they have an empire. You could even say a business empire.
Well, look at what's going on there.
What kind of energy was it built on?
On borrowing from the future. Not a fence around the house, but energy pulled from the future with the assumption that it would somehow be paid back later. That's the only way. When we looked at their situation, we also projected it onto ourselves and saw that full separation hadn't happened, neither for me nor for Nicole. The model turned out to be very simple. You've actually done it yourselves. It works beautifully. Then Nicole even drew a symbol of separation from the mother. I think we'll share it somewhere later. We give energy back to the mother and take our own energy back. At the same time, we imagine that the mother has fully realized herself in her creativity, her profession, her life, her happiness, her enjoyment of family life, as it could have unfolded in probable realities. We roughly understand her potential and the opportunities she had. We simply amplify them as much as possible and give her energy so that this realization can work within her. And from her, we take back our energy, which in truth no longer belongs to her. You do this for 3 to 10 days. An important point, you'll immediately feel when it's done, when it no longer works. And the very next day, you again imagine her in realization. It can look different every time. How happy she is, how she expresses herself, how good and effective everything is for her. You give her energy and take yours back. This separation works extremely well, and most likely changes will begin, starting on the physical level and ending with life events. And one more key point. After that, move forward in love.
Great. Next question. Can you share a technique for increasing the permission system for women?
Very simple. The ability to sincerely rejoice in other women, in men who are not yours, in people around you, and at the same time do good deeds and throw them into the water.
Great. We talked a lot about this in the context of the second block as well. It's worth re-listening. Third question. My man has been unable to recover and move toward realization for 3 years now. Something is constantly holding him back. He says he's not ready, that he doesn't have inner clarity about what he wants to do. He's afraid of choosing the wrong path. He doesn't see his calling. Right now, I'm the one earning money for the family. What could be the reasons for his stagnation? I see that he himself is suffering from this, but I don't understand how I can help him.
This is exactly the situation we didn't voice today, but we've talked about it many times before. A woman is always very strong, insanely strong, and when she pulls the blanket over herself and goes into business, while at the same time there's a lack of sex, tenderness, honesty, sincere conversations, shared outings, natural interaction, gentleness, touch, hugs, expressions of love, and the desire to spend time together, the woman starts taking the man's energy, his foundation, because she lacks it, because she starts becoming the man. There is an exchange. A woman generates feminine energy, a man generates masculine energy. These two generated energies interact with each other. The base energies remain. Masculine within the woman, feminine within the man. But if a woman aggressively pushes into development, her inner masculine energy comes outward, and she can only interact with the man's inner feminine energy. She takes it. The man becomes weak, inert, unrealized, resentful, unable to take responsibility with no energy. In other words, she literally eats his life force, and at the same time she thinks, I'm doing great. No, you're not doing great. You're killing that man. The reason? Any businesswoman, even more so than an average woman, must express tenderness, kindness, sexuality, charm, hugs, communication. Otherwise, this can even lead to serious illness in him if it continues in the same pattern, especially if they keep living in inertia with thoughts like, well, he hasn't gotten himself together yet, and I'll just focus on business for now. I've already got balls like an elephant and a penis like a giraffe.
Like an elephant.
Yes, and this is where it becomes very clear how a woman can destroy a man through her state. As a result, men often slide into deception, resentment, indecision, or infidelity.
Give us some kind of remedy.
The remedy is very simple.
Show tenderness?
Today, you need to review what's been happening, own what drained his energy, and step into the intention of having many sincere conversations. At the same time, the woman supports her man with love, but without duty, without guilt, without pity, and she sincerely admits to him, I pushed too hard and took away your inner strength. I'm sorry, I didn't know, I didn't understand, I'm giving it back, I want to be a woman, let's move in this direction together.
Great. Fourth question. Threesomes. Why does a man want them while his woman doesn't? What is that really about?
It's about the desire to get more energy, and most likely about a woman's deep conservatism in everyday interaction and a blockage of the potential she actually has. The man is trying to solve a lack of life energy and quality through quantity. This points to a lack of sincere conversations, touch, tenderness, and usually this woman is missing excitement, drive, interest, love, softness, sparkle in the eyes, that sense of enjoyment of life.
Okay, let's call that the diagnosis. What's the prescription? How do you turn quantity into quality?
At the very least, start sharing fantasies, dream about the future together, interact, talk about who likes what and how you'd like it, just the two of you for now. Spend at least a month talking about everything. Dreams of a home, what kind you want, what kind I want, travel, entertainment, sexual fantasies, all of it. When they move into sincere conversations, touch, and for example, role play, where he becomes someone she would desire, and she becomes someone he would desire, then maybe, just maybe, there won't be a need for a third wheel.
Additional participants.
Or a third extra one, yes.
Fifth question. With my wife, everything is calm and warm. I enjoy being around her in my own way, but there's no attraction to her as a woman. We've been together for 10 years. There's depth and respect. I don't want to lose that, but I don't feel fire. Is this mature partnership that should be preserved, or is it more honest to leave if there's no bodily desire?
Listen, there are no sincere conversations. There's inertia, just pure inertia. No honesty, no novelty, and no, it's like you built a corridor with fixed walls and no one ever steps outside it. Inside that corridor, it's comfortable, like a grave at a cemetery.
We watched a podcast together. Some biochemist was saying that sexuality needs to be watered, meaning, in a couple, it has to be cultivated constantly. You have to take care of it because it won't survive on its own. It's actually one of the first things that needs attention in a relationship.
Look,
if you don't invest in it, don't explore it, don't talk about it, don't try new things, don't even discuss preferences, it will inevitably fade, especially if you're also living in a stable, inert environment, business, society, routine, and especially for the wife.
We all have a daily routine. We brush our teeth, wash up, go to the bathroom, take a shower, have breakfast, then meetings, dinners, restaurants. Now, I'll first voice what psychologists say, and then I'll give my own view. All family psychologists say that sex needs to be scheduled. If you don't plan it, it won't happen. Just like physical exercise. If you don't plan physical activity, loads, movement, you'll have problems with your body, your heart. Cardio is essential. You have to schedule walking, swimming, workouts. The same applies to sexual energy, except it's many times more important. And when a family psychologist talks about sports, sex is actually the best sport there is because it's energy exchange, touch, physiology, you fully express yourself there. The key thing is that it shouldn't be mechanical. There has to be interest and experimentation.
Right, it's not about forcing yourself.
No.
It's about finding a way to integrate it naturally.
What's interesting is that at first, or maybe not at the very beginning, but at some stage, you still kind of force yourself to take interest, just like people force themselves to go to the gym at first. And then, after a while, they start enjoying it because they feel the blood flow, the lymph movement, the overall vitality. Same thing here. If you stay inert, you can turn, excuse my language, into a lazy blob that wants nothing and can do nothing, because everything has atrophied. If you don't load your brain, you know what happens. If you don't load your body, you degrade. Same with sexuality. And in a couple, it's sincere conversation, touch, and an inevitable transition to physical interaction, which actually prolongs life and improves overall well-being. And by the way, excitement, novelty, and interest come back too.
I'd also say, start talking to your wife about this if it feels like a problem. But don't start by calling it a problem. Start talking about intimacy in general. We have many real-life stories we won't share, but here's a light-hearted one. A young couple had a baby, and everything felt different. They began to communicate openly. The guy mentioned, "You know, when I was younger, I was really intrigued by the idea of being close to someone with pink braids." The wife was surprised at first, but after they talked it through, they realized the issue wasn't with each other. Instead of arguing, she created pink braids. Then she tried a purple wig, and it turned out everything was fine. So if you give this a try, you might see whether you're truly incompatible or if you'll discover something new about each other.